Hi guys, thank you for joining me back here again on the 401 files. Before we start, please remember that the YouTube algorithm does favour videos with lots of comments, so please drop down below and use that comments box to express your thoughts, feelings and opinions. Right, so a lot of you guys who follow me on social media will have seen recently that I've been exploring Cannock Chase. Cannock Chase is a notorious location here in the UK for many strange sightings, such as the wild man, UFOs and extraterrestrials, dogmen, and even something that resembles a werewolf. All these things have been reported on Cannock Chase. So here I am in this photo, and alongside me are fellow investigators Mark, Jerry and Chris. And this was taken on the last day of the trip, just before we left to come home. So the trip was amazing. We spent 2 days investigating the chase and exchanging tons of different theories and ideas on these subjects. And as far as experiencing anything strange, we really didn't experience anything, to be honest, at the time. And I even mentioned this to one of my fellow followers here on Facebook, as you can see by this conversation. And yeah, so I got back home and I sat on the footage for a few days, which is completely normal for me, before going through it all properly. It's not unusual for me to sit on footage like this. I usually do that when I'm at the moors filming out there as well. Sometimes I'll come back and sit on footage for weeks, so yeah, nothing out of the ordinary there. But today I started to go through the footage properly, and that's when I noticed this. Did you miss it? Well, don't be too hard on yourself because it all happened pretty fast. So here I am, stood no more than about 5 meters away from this tree break situated in the middle of the shot. But for argument's sake, let's just be extreme and say that I'm about 10 meters away from this tree break. I want you to watch this area right here. I'll play it in normal speed once and then I'll slow it down for you guys so you can get a better look at what I'm talking about. What you will see are two red glowing lights, but we'll call them eyes for the sake of understanding. So I've got Mark stood just off to my right shoulder, holding the torch for me while I hold the camera recording the rest of this footage. Chris and Jerry are also off directly to my right, but they're walking down the track away from me and Mark. These two red eyes move very, very fast, from left to right, just behind the tree break, without ever making a single sound. We didn't see them. We didn't hear them, even though both me and Mark were shining the torch and filming in that direct area. So my initial thought was that this was probably a fox or a rabbit or maybe even a badger. But if you look closely and pay attention at all that tall overgrown brush, if this was a rabbit or a fox or a badger, they would have been completely hidden away by all this tall overgrown vegetation. And hence, we would have never seen them in the first place. So what about a deer then? A deer stands much taller than a fox or a badger or a rabbit. Could it be a deer? Well, if I stop the video here, you can see that the space between the two red lights is pretty large, which would suggest to me that this is a relatively large deer. Well then, tell me this. How does a large deer, no more than 5 meters away from me, running through thick brush, remain completely silent and non-visible, even when we're stood there filming in that direction and shining the torches directly in that location? And just to add to that, I ran a quick Google search just to see if I could compare any images of other deers with red eye shine. The only images I found were of deers with green or yellow eye shine, but not red. Again, we never heard anything, we never saw anything, and I've spent most of my life in the outdoors in one way or another. I was in the Cub Scouts, the military, I've wild camped as a hobby for many, many years, and I've seen tons of deer in my time. And one thing that I've learned about deers is that they don't care too much about being stealthy, especially when you're only 5 meters away from them. They always bawl every single time, and it's always a noisy experience. But then things get even more weirder. Agitated and stressed out about not being able to explain these red lights away, I decided to increase the exposure and the shadows. As soon as I did this, two other objects hidden away in the back of the forest stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Now, I do believe in pareidolia, a phenomenon where the mind will often see things that it wants to see, like people seeing faces inside clouds, for example. But this to me was just blatantly obvious. I've used a piece of paper here, as you can see, to overlay the paper on the screen and show you exactly what I see. And I think that once I did this, once I overlay the paper and begin to trace the objects, you can see instantly how much these two objects jump off the screen and away from the surrounding background area. Now, I don't want to fully commit just yet by saying that I think I've caught something extraterrestrial, but what I will do is leave you guys to drop down below and tell me exactly what you think. To me, I think this is weird. I've ruled out it being a fox, a badger and a rabbit for the reasons I've already stated, and yeah, there's not too many things that this could be, but for me it looks like the direction these red lights move across the screen have come from this craft or whatever that thing is, and then now running away towards this other creature that looks like it's got a red head or some kind of a red device on its head that's just waiting off in the back of the forest there for it to catch up. You guys let me know what you think. I find this very strange. Like I said, we never even heard a thing at the time, in the moment. This was only discovered today when I was going through my footage. You guys have been awesome. Give this one a thumbs up. Drop down in the comments box below and let me know what you think. What the hell is this?